NewJeans are a 5-member girl group that debuted last year under Hybe sublabel Adore, ADOR. Whew. Popular right from the start. At the time of recording, they have over 1.5 billion streams on Spotify and over 18 million monthly listeners. The track starts off a bit of a liquid D&B backing, kind of city pop, vaporwave vibes, lots of synths, all that good breakbeaty goodness. And the vocal production, excellent. Hani sounds gorgeous, Minji and Heirin have great flow and are present and up front. It is lush, bright, minimal production. There's not too much going on besides a couple synths and percussion, but it's beefed up by these beat switches and sort of finger snaps and claps throughout the track. I really enjoyed the production, thought it was top notch. The vocals, they're sort of dry, they're not so reverbed or echoey or anything like that, but I didn't mind that. I liked how present they were and up front in the mix. The harmonies were nice, but they weren't there for much of the track. There were only a couple moments where some really lovely harmonies kicked in. I would have liked some more, especially on the back end of the track, just to make it crescendo and soar kind of nicely. Because overall, the track was kind of one note. Kind of nothing. There was no soaring high note at the end. It was minimal and subtle. It wasn't grandiose, which is nice and lovely, but less memorable. The third chorus beat switch, though, delicious. All the beat switches that occur keep the track dynamic, keep it moving. I really enjoyed those. Music to my ears. It's another awesome track from NewJeans. What can I say? Like, Attention, Ditto, Hype Boy, they've just been on fire. NewJeans are one of the most exciting groups in K-pop right now. They're at the forefront in terms of production, music styles. They're really delving into those less traditional pop styles that typically are reserved for like underground music, underground artists, but they're pop. 18 million monthly listeners are hearing these genres. Very exciting. Very excited for what they do next.
Hey everyone, it's Sean here at Sepultura Prod, hitting you up with another review of an awesome track by Korean rap R&B artist Jeebanoff. He released a new track about a week ago called Care For You and They're There. I'm going to review them combined because he uploaded a lyric video with them combined, so I feel like they are companions to each other. So I'll review them as such. Start off with Care For You. Beautiful harmonies. It's a nice, sweet production. The guitars, sparkly, beautiful, kind of got some depth to them. No thinness here. Really beautiful guitar sound on this track. And the beat, it kicks in really nicely. It adds some dynamics to the track. It's got kind of a spring day vibe, this one. I really loved it. The trap type beat, very tasteful. The vocals, Jeebanoff, man, amazing. It's him at his best. It's the best I've heard him. Like the soft falsettos, these airy, murmured verses. Awesome, awesome track. And then we go into They're There. So the lo-fi kind of beat is cool. It's mixed maybe a touch loudly, which is weird because in Care For You, I found the mix really amazing, well balanced, but then There kicks in and it's a little off balance somehow. Minimal production, there's lots of space, but it's hindered by what I saw as a lot of compression, I suspect, so that made it more upfront, very, very present in my face, yet kind of airy in its minimal production, so I guess there was tension there that didn't quite work for me. Harmonies, beautiful once again, just like in Care For You, but mixed very low, very, very low, whisper quiet. I would have liked them brought up a little more considering how beautiful they sound. Overall, it is a cool, chill track. The production was kind of lacking on There, but I absolutely loved this double track effort from Jeebanoff, especially the vocal performance. He absolutely killed it this time, and I'm really looking forward to what he's got coming next, whether it's an EP, album, another single. I don't mind. More Jeebanoff.
NCT Dream, the SM Juggernaut, new track, ISTJ, which I believe is referring to the Myers-Briggs personality test. Very interesting title. Moving on. It's not bad. It's a cool arrangement. Distorted, big synth, semi-industrial beat, then a break to a jazzy R&B vibe, kind of a lot like older TVXQ tracks. It's mixed quite loud, but I loved that. It helped the track bop, sound powerful, almost loud to a fault, but I sort of expect it from a big heavyweight group like NCT Dream as well. It's a very solid track. Vocals really shined in a strong upbeat pop song that's reminiscent of classic SM goodness. Highly recommend it. Ex-Sistar member Soyou and Bora is a feature on this track, Aloha. The intro filters in, it sounds like the Avalanches, Since I Left You. I loved it. That was very cool. Similar kind of breathy exclamation on the ha that we've heard across IU tracks, which I also really love IU, so this sat well with me. It's got an 80s vibe, bright, city pop-esque synths that would sit right at home in the Barbie movie, funnily enough. This track's kind of pink if there was a color to choose for it. The production, great, loud, present, electric basses, bit buried, but besides some slap notes sticking out, the synths, awesome, crisp, beefy, so I don't mind that the bass was a little buried because the synths, man, really, really great production on the synths. Absolutely loved that sound. I was especially happy with the drums, cymbals, hats, those percussion elements. They're not intrusive, they help the track along, they make it groove, finger snaps, great element, love that. Tiny bit cliche, but I don't mind, really suited the track on this one. Soyou's vocal performance, so good. She's just great. Fantastic singer. The key's high, but she handled those highs beautifully. Production on her voice is brilliant as ever. Perfect. Look, say what you want about Bora, but she plays to her strengths. That baby voice delivery of her bubblegum rap verse on this track, it's saccharine sweet, but it's perfect for Aloha. It suits the vibe perfectly. Really good choice there. It's a summer bop. What can I say? Like, the whole track left me feeling energized, happy as Larry, although it did make me miss Sister R.I.P. I'm going to review ITZY's latest track, Cake. The intro and that main hook, cake, 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 awesome. Really, really catchy, stuck in my head. The horns work so well on this track. It's not obnoxious like a lot of other songs that use horns. Horns are very common in pop these days, but I didn't mind them on this track. Really cool trap beat backing it up. It contrasts so well with the vocals, which this is the best I've ever heard ITZY. JYP, once again, amazing vocal production. Just beautiful, crisp, forward in the mix, beautiful. Second verse, it kind of feels a bit off. Maybe a different vocal melody would have helped, or maybe the backing melody sounds a little grating, a little messy. Didn't really enjoy the second verse, and the chorus is a touch typical of girl groups like Red Velvet. I do respect the unique production, the unique arrangement, heavily affected guitar and synths in the mix. I did like it. I thought it did sound fairly fresh, but also rather familiar to a certain point, maybe too much. Look, overall, I quite like this track. It really showed off ITZY and how talented they are, but I don't think it comes anywhere near Wanna. It's pretty mid. Hello everyone, Sean at SeparateProd here with a review of the much anticipated comeback by YG boy group Treasure. This is their first song in 10 months if you don't count their subunit T5. Very hyped. It's called Bona, and it's got some synths, kind of 8-bit, maybe a hardstyle influence. It's obnoxious, grating. The beat's not bad. It's pretty standard and reminiscent of Big Bang. The sub bass is thick and powerful. I did love that. First rap, it kind of fell over itself, kind of felt clumsy, but the second rap, not bad. Slightly buried by the beat. And the third rap, also quite good. Vocal production, top notch. Very, very good. A++ on the vocals. The snare was mixed so low
The mix in general, super bass heavy, very, very bottom end heavy, to a fault. And then we come to the end of the song. It's YG, you know where this is going. A group vocal ending. I'm so tired of hearing these onomatopoeic endings of YG songs. Every group that's big right now in the YG world are doing this. And I just can't stand it. It's like Marvel movies to me. I'm tired of it. So look, Bona overall, it's grating. It's grating to listen to. I expect better from YG. They're one of the biggest K-pop companies ever. Thanks for listening. I'm Sean at SepatoreProd. Buy me a coffee. Hello everyone, it's Sean at SepatoreProd here with an awesome track from an artist I'd never heard of before called Damye. The track is called BDBD, in brackets ENFP Anthem, and it is awesome. Production is amazing, reminiscent of Crush or Primary. The vocals, okay, I would have liked it a little more present in the mix, but the performance is excellent. It's perfect for the song, such a mood. The arrangement was a little unconventional, but it really worked. There's a very tasteful guitar solo in there, and some screams worked over a chill R&B beat. It just works. It doesn't sound like it would on paper, but the screams over the chill beat sound awesome, emotive, just very soulful and passionate was the performance I found. Damye, new fan in me. This song is awesome. I'm so interested in what they do next. Looking forward to it. O-Wave. This band includes a former member of Treasure, so naturally I was curious about this group's latest effort, Come To Me. It has a tropical kind of synth against trap R&B type beats. It's a great mix. It's loud, tasteful reverbs and delays giving the mix nice space. It's sensual but melancholy. The way the members play off each other's parts was great. Cohesive but contrasting nicely. The production is nice and loud, a little standard in the arrangement. I feel like I've heard that guitar sound in so many songs lately. Artists like Ash Island doing that kind of style very well, if not better than what O-Wave came up with. And sometimes the auto-tune made the vocals a touch too thin. Other times though it felt right and tasteful. The members harmonise really well in the chorus. The vocal performances in general are great. Sometimes the notes hit a low and moany though, in kind of a grating way. I wonder if that was the auto-tune's effect as well. Especially after the rap part towards the end of the track. Speaking of the end of the track, it ends with a fade out and it just did not feel right. I maybe would have preferred ending on the last word or one extra guitar riff, maybe. Look, overall, very cool track. I'm interested on how this project evolves. Hello everyone, Sean at SepatoreProd here reviewing My Colour by rookie girl group ILY1, ILY1. Awesome arrangement. The strings, percussive glitches around the drums, and a beautiful, beautiful piano. The vocals on this track, wow. Sweet, pretty, deep. Definite A-Pink influence on this one. Perhaps why I love this track, because A-Pink are all time for me. And the beat, tastefully popping out to the front of the mix. It hits hard, great backing, awesome beat switch at the back of the chorus too. I loved how pretty this track was. The vocal performance, fantastic. The mix is balanced and powerful. Big drums, airy strings. ILY1 are only 1.5 years old as a group. I'm very excited for what they do next because this track is incredible. One of my favorites so far this year. How Not to K-Pop Review. Hello everyone, Sean at SepatoreProd here with the latest release from Chanju, an artist who is signed to Mummy-Sun, formerly known as Mad Clown's label Beautiful Noise. It's called Wonderland EP, this one, and it starts off with a weird title intro, Eat Me Mushroom Skit. It's cloudy, it's kind of like FKA Twigs or Doja Cat, it's kind of mellow. It sounds really cool, it's a cool stage setter for the EP. It transitions really weirdly into the next track, Your Love. The connection feels kind of forced, but this track, Your Love, incredible. Amazing track. Bit of a samba influence on this one with the guitars and the piano. The keys have this aggressive chorus that make it sound kind of fake, but I loved it. The arrangement is great. These little percussive vocal squeaks accompanying the chorus work really well. And Chanju's voice, very, very sweet. Deep, great performance. The mix is great. Tasteful distortion, compression, and a very warm, cozy summer vibe. Really enjoyed that. And the feature, Lee Chun-yuk, he complements the track beautifully with his rich, soft voice. The harmonies in the second chorus, oh, perfect. And the beat switch to sort of four to the floor kind of thing in the back half, it made the track a bit more dancey rather than a chill folk track. I loved that element, kept it dynamic. There's also an original version attached to the end of the EP, and it has this really cool affected guitar and a more electronic production, which I found equally good. So Your Love, fantastic, highlight of the EP. Love is Love. It's got excellent falsettos. It's got a little bit of a Lana Del Rey vibe. The mix is quite good. I love the panning of the elements, such as the guitar in the back left and some string keys out wide. But the track plods along, ends well, like just as it gets boring, so it's not overly cumbersome to listen to, but definitely not a standout. GTA, kind of SZA or Doja Cat kind of vibes on this one. There's like a dubstep influence production. The vocals I would have liked a little more dynamic, a touch one note, but the beat is great. The synths are touch predictable as well, but not too bad a track. This is the part of the EP where I did start getting a little bored though. But there it comes to an end with Bad Dream featuring DBO. It's a cool track, kind of like E-High. I felt that this one was a bit safe, maybe. Like an R&B mellow style, bit played out. We've heard it all before from like Baekhyun, Park Borum, Haeji, Lee High, Soyou. DBO's verse was decent, if not a little one note. It's a good flow though. Look, the EP from Chanju, it's very good. She's released some tracks here and there over the years, but now this is a more complete release. I hope they continue the electronic fused with a lo-fi folk influence on their future projects because I loved it in this one. And I definitely recommend you give this a listen. The other tracks are a little overshadowed by the incredible awesomeness that is Your Love. Definitely check that song out, if any. Huge girl hip-hop group XG. I had no idea they had over 4.5 million monthly listeners on Spotify at the time of this review, and there you go. With such big numbers, I expected huge things from their new track, Gvng and TGIF. What I got was okay. Gvng has a good trap beat, predictable, high-pitched synthy bits, a bit of a cliche siren in the mix, but the flows are solid. I wanted a touch more dynamics in the flows. I found many members sounding the same, which made the track feel longer than it was. But then we get to TGIF, which is Thank God I'm Fly, not Thank God It's Friday. It's a banger. Awesome beat. Dark, Lady Gaga, Kim Petras-ish, house synths. The girl boss lyrics, very cool. Appreciated them. Similar to Gvng, I found it lacked dynamics though. The singing part in the bridge is awesome. The mix is balanced, if not a bit overly compressed, but that makes sense considering the dance genre that TGIF sits in. These tracks from XG, not bad. Considering their success though, once again that 4.5 million monthly listeners, I expected more from them, but they're definitely a group to watch in the K-pop scene. Hello everyone, Sean at Sepator Prod here with a review of Yoon Seo Bin's track Love is Like a Wave. They're a popular Produce 101 contestant turned actor, singer, songwriter Yoon Seo Bin, releasing a new track called Love is Like a Wave. It's got a Jonas Brothers sound on this one, a little bit of an EXO vibe at times. The bass sounds awesome, like a serrated knife just cutting through the mix beautifully. The vocal performance also not bad. The rap lacked some dynamics and the purposeful pauses every couple bars was annoying, but very pretty sounding falsetto. Perhaps slightly overused, it's almost falsetto for the whole last chorus out of the bridge, and throughout the song it's used a lot, maybe too much. Beat, very cool, acoustic sounding kit, and it pops out of the mix really nicely, some tasteful compression there. It's a dancey little pop number from Yoon Seo. I'm not blown away by this one, but it's a pretty good track, good bop. Legendary group, Classici. They're back, sort of. The legendary group's producer, Classy, has released a groovy little number with Jaemin of Urban Zacapa fame and Lovely's K. I'm a little bit of a sucker for duets, so let's give it a go. This one is excellent. It's called Static. It has a slightly similar sound to one of my favorite Classici tracks, Madly. It's rich, thick beat, backed up by beefy disco R&B synths. Jaemin's performance is soulful and emotive, mixed predictably, but he is a great singer. Kay also delivers an emotive performance on the track, which gave both singers chemistry and helped immerse me in the song really nicely. The 80s influence in some of the synths during the chorus, I loved it. I loved the distorted warbly one going through the first chorus onwards, kept the track dynamic and prevented it being generic. It's a lovely vibe. The mix is great, the elements balanced, and some width in the track allowing the vocals to pop out. It's enriched with harmonies and doubling. It all sounds very pretty, beautiful. Make no mistake, this duet still screams Classici, but I think it's what the world needs as K-pop transitions into a new wave, led by the likes of NewJeans and Hypen, TXT and the like. It's nice to hear a classic group back. Thanks for listening. I'm Sean at Sepator Prod. Buy me a coffee. How Not to K-pop Review. Hello everyone, a surprise remix of Le Seraphim's hit Eve, Psych and the Bluebeard's Wife by pop superstar Rina Sawayama came out a few weeks ago. It's great. It makes the song more suited for the club but accessible. I didn't feel like I have to be intoxicated to enjoy this. It would sit perfectly in between a Charlie XCX or a David Guetta banger. The guitars from the OG chorus sound a little out of place, but the vocals fit right in. I really liked what was done with this remix. Also, it doesn't overstay its welcome, clocking in at 2 minutes 54. I wonder if we'll be seeing more remixes of the global K-pop sensations by Western artists, like NCT maybe, or a NewJeans remix on the way. I don't know, but that would be really amazing going off this remix. Rina, you nailed it. Love this track. An SM Entertainment Supergirl group, aespa, are back with Better Things. I love this track. It's weird. The production is good, if not a little too understated. It's slightly boring, but there's heaps of space in the mix. Every member sounding beautiful. The harmonies really shine on this track. It's beefy, despite being what is quite a sparse mix. Nice and thick, but with very little going on. Beat switches. I think someone told SM they want more beat switches, because this has 4. I found that made this track not feel cohesive, but more like a collage of a few different songs, which was a common criticism of Girls' Generation SNSD I Got a Boy. That being said, it gripped me. This track is very minimal, but never boring. The mix on the beat is great. This song sounds shiny and futuristic like Chrome, which comes off a little sterile. I wanted a little more bite. Despite the sterility, this mix is awesome. So balanced, so many elements going on. Incredible song. This track, it's like nothing I've heard in K-pop this year. I'm a little obsessed. Twice, leader, member, Jihyo's solo, first solo outing. Killing me good. It's a JYP production, of course. It's wet, electric, and neo-soul influences present. The mix is sparkly and clear. Despite being busy at times, each element sounds great. It's reminiscent of Taemin's solo tracks, Want, Drip Drop, that kind of sound. Kind of squelchy synths and a beat driving the track well. The drums have a definite R&B influence and are a little busy at times. Jihyo's vocal performance is great, but I found it slightly buried at times, but overall tastefully produced, sounding smooth and clear for the most part. I love how dynamic her performance was, weaving between soaring singing, quieter spoken sections. It's not always cohesive, but it sounded great overall. There's just something missing in this track. Maybe a more catchy hook was needed in the chorus, or a different element in the arrangement to the overwhelming squelchy synth that plays through the track. I wasn't completely blown away by this one, but it's well mixed and very listenable. The Korean girl group responsible for Teddy Bear, High Up Entertainment's Stacy, they're back with the track Bubble, and it's not it. The synth string intro reminded me of Call Me Maybe in the best kind of way. The vocal production, fantastic. Stacy's performance is perfectly executed and mixed. The claps in the first verse, fun, don't overstay their welcome. Wasn't huge on the guitar in this part, but it was better than during the chorus. The beat, lacking oomph at times, like during the choruses. Other times it sounds spot on, like in some of the verses. I really enjoyed the 4-to-the-floor driving beat. There's a lot going on in the low mid-range in this track's arrangement, which thickens the mix and gives the vocals clarity, but I found these elements buried the drums at times. The guitar synths, they're similar to a track I previously reviewed, iChillin's Kickstart, muddy sounding and terrible. I enjoyed the fun, higher-pitched pop synths in the chorus. The hook is catchy, bright, and fun. There's a group cheer that plays in the chorus and ooh and ah in the bridge. Ugh, I found it corny, quite cringe. This release was a real test for Stacy, a critical moment where they could blow up by riding the momentum from their breakout Teddy Bear, or not capitalize on it and settle into the mid-tier of the current crop of K-pop groups. I adore Stacy, and I had really high hopes for this release, so I'm sad to say that in my opinion, this track is mid, and I predict Stacy are destined to be in the middle of the heap.
Hello everyone, Sean at Sepator Prod here, reviewing rookie group n.Ssign's track that they pre-released along with a pretty cool song called Higher. They've got their debut album out, but I sat down to give the track Wormhole, new track, a listen. It's sparse. I loved the intro. We don't get a beat until around 40 seconds in. That's pretty daring, and it kept me engaged for sure. Where Higher showed off the vocal chops of the group, this is a 100% certified rap track. There are singing parts a la NCT, but that huge trap beat and skeletal production, it would be at home with rodeo-era Travis Scott. The bridge is cool, guitar coming forward in the mix kinda nicely. The end vocal ad-libs are good, they're not great. I would have liked a couple longer held notes to really show off their vocal chops. But it's very cool tracks coming from this rookie group. I'm really interested to see where n.Ssign go from here. YG Superboy Group Icons, new track, Panorama. It starts with some la la las. Ugh. The mix is bright, it's summery, the beat's well mixed, it's tastefully compressed, and it pops out of the mix really well. Bobby's rap is great. The singing parts are a bit over-affected. There's too much auto-tune, too much reverb, but it makes the vocals sound a bit thin and wobbly. Kind of similar to Post Malone though, so if you're into that, you'll enjoy it. The whistling in the chorus, it's played out. I didn't vibe with it. It was well mixed. It wasn't mixed too loud, but didn't care for it. The gang vocal la la las at the end, ugh. This track, it's touted as a special single, so a one-off from iKON, presumably for the diehard fans, because I didn't like this track as a casual fan. And the mix was okay, and the beat was decent, but the vocals let Panorama down. And YG, please, stop with the onomatopoeia. Loco's latest track, I Need Your Love. It's going for a Post Malone vibe on this one. The driving beat is not bad. The production, really great. Really loved it. It's got this static machine gun flow from Loco that sometimes works. Sometimes I found it sharp and obtrusive. Considering the smooth backing track, it didn't quite match. The production is great though. It's so smooth. The deep bass mixed great. Other than that, fairly predictable arrangement. Guitar, pop-punk infused rap. Very trendy these days ever since MGK. I personally thought the chorus needed a feature to sing it. It would have brought some dynamics and flair, especially from an artist such as Ohyuk, Car the Garden, maybe Paul Blanco even. And the outro, not needed. It would have been good for it to end on the last vocal refrain, I Need Your Love. Rather meh, this one. I liked that Loco was doing something a bit different genre-wise and with a high flow, but he didn't nail it on this one. I really like him, so expected more. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Sean at Sepator Prod. Buy me a coffee. The new one from Bum Key, R&B singer Bum Key, featuring Palo Alto and Gvng. It's called How You Feel. This track slaps. The beat and pitched up vocals are similar to Jay-Z's Hard Knock Life, the ghetto anthem. Vocal performance from Bum Key is excellent. I was surprised how well his deep, soulful voice fit the bright summery production. The auto-tune, very tasteful on Bum Key, but I found it a little intrusive, too much on Gvng's vocal, but could still hear a great performance just buried under the auto-tune. Palo Alto, once again, proves he is the GOAT of Korean hip-hop, with a somewhat predictable flow but executed so well. It's dynamic, somewhat serious, mixed with a fun edge. The production is decent, if not a little typical. The beat is quite acoustic sounding, which I liked, and the hand claps are tasteful and well placed in the track. Onewe's new track, Salty Boy. Genuine pop punk right here. That intro riff that plays throughout is classic. Catchy hook. Excellent. Guitars in general, especially compared to other pop punk tracks like iChillin's Kickstart or Loco's I Need Your Love, which I both previously reviewed, they sound great on this track by Onewe. Beefy, present, not too much mid, tastefully compressed. I loved the guitars on this track, man. The vocals are a little too slick, overproduced. The auto-tune's okay during the verses, but it kind of swallows the vocal in the chorus. Maybe too much delay or reverb in there as well that just makes the vocals fall away. The drums, I'm a bit conflicted. I personally liked the acoustic sounds, but when it switched to these electronic kind of sounds, 808, 707 kind of drum sounds, it reveals that most likely the acoustic sounding drums are also software programmed, so it's a bit fake sounding, which is not the intention of the acoustic sound, obviously. That sounds like real drums, quote unquote. It's a touch over-compressed too, but it fits the MGK Youngblood vibe of the song. I was pleasantly surprised by this Onewe track. Salty Boy captured the latest pop-punk revival led by MGK, Youngblood, Mod.Sun, and some other artists. I recommend this one. Hello everyone, Sean at Sepator Prod here with a review of High Key's track, Time to Shine. The arrangement is interesting. It's got a weird wub-wub guitar going on in the verses, and then strings added later in the track against a rock band kind of arrangement. Works really well. The strings work really well especially. They keep a slightly melancholy but hopeful mood to the track, and they're mixed really well. I can feel a J-pop or old school K-pop influence on this one, like older Sonoshite or artists like Gen Hoshino even. The vocal performance was okay, not incredible, but emotionally matched the song well. It was mixed well too, very clear, not too loud. The vocal melody in the verse is a bit annoying, but the chorus hook is catchy. Kind of a funky, jazzy vibe in the verse and pre-chorus. That was really cool, kind of fresh and unique. I liked the bass popping out in these moments and made it groove. The mix is very busy, slightly mid-heavy around some of the drums, bass and guitar elements, but pretty well balanced considering how many elements there are in the track. It's not bad. High Key are filling the gap left by G-Friend and coming up against artists like A-Pink, Weekly, and I'm here for it. Time to Shine has a lot of interesting elements and a good vocal performance, but a weak verse melody and somewhat typical chorus let it down. Rookie boy group on Zico's KOZ label, Boy Next Door, their new track called But Sometimes. Vocal production on this track is amazing, present, smooth, tastefully popping out the mix. It's a touch one note, it kind of loses me in the bridge. It needed a bit more of a style change or more dynamics to keep the track moving. It slightly overstays its welcome. The guitars though, interesting. The flange phaser effect I think it is, worked really well on the track. They're well mixed, the guitars, punchy, out wide to give space for the vocals and drums. The bass, a touch buried by the mid-heavy guitars and drums in the mix. I wonder if this was a factor in the song falling a little flat. I love a thick bass in my face. Drums were well recorded, sounded great, a classic pop-punk feel to them. It served the song perfectly. Another pop-punk track I noticed with the genre and feel of this one. These past couple months, surge of pop-punk K-pop songs, and Boy Next Door has come out with one of the better efforts. Despite it being a bit forgettable, I feel some excitement with Boy Next Door. They're definitely on the come up. Very interested to see where they go from here.
Hello everyone, Sean at Sepultura Prod here with a review of Gravity's Cheese. The Starship group are back with a spring banger. It's a cool blend of soul R&B with a rock guitar. The vocal has tasteful auto-tune and compression. It's slightly overproduced, but it is a pop production, so I get it. The piano and synths are great on this track, played in a lowish key, but mixed perfectly. It didn't get in the way of the bass or the drums. I loved the bass and drums on this one, deep and big. It made the track groove. I was bopping my head from the start. This bridge, oh dear. This bridge is terrible. The gang vocals saying moves to do is lame, it's cringe. Reminds me of YG's efforts with Treasure and Icon. This track is mixed loud, in kind of a good way, but it does make the track feel a little claustrophobic with how compressed and limited it is. I would have liked a bit more space in the production to give it more dynamics and air. This track's okay. It's got a catchy hook, an okay production, but that bridge is awful, and Cheese doesn't stand out from the pack.
Hello everyone, Sean at Sepultura Prod here with a review of FT Island's Sage. The intro effects are really cool, the production on this track, awesome, loud, spacious. The mix was maybe a touch too loud, it made the song kind of lack some dynamics, which I would have liked. The vocal performance though, amazing. Although I didn't really care for the millennial wah-ohs, the lead vocals from Hongyi are incredible, truly one of the best vocalists in K-pop. Mix-wise, the vocals are slightly too affected, they get a touch drowned out by the harmonies, the verb, the delays. There's a lot of effects going on in this track and it drowns out the vocals a bit. The guitar though, and the bass, both of them, tone is incredible. They have weight, punch, space. I absolutely loved the grandiose pop rock tone, kind of like 30 Seconds to Mars or One OK Rock. I enjoyed the vocal change in the bridge, but at this point I would have liked perhaps a tempo change as well, especially considering how mid-tempo this track is, kind of slower than other pop songs. Strings, they were okay, not overly special. I like the wall of sound it created along with everything else in the back half of the track though. Look, FT Island, they've been around for over 15 years. It's more than enough time to hone their skills, master their sound. Sage is a shining example of this. It's masters at work. The mix, the performance, all of it is incredible. Despite a lack of dynamics, highly recommend this one.
Hello everyone, Sean at Sepultura Prod here, reviewing the brand new solo track from Mamamoo member Hwasa, I Love My Body. Ariana Grande vibes on this one, Showtime influence, kinda reminiscent of Sistar's classic Give It To Me. The arrangement is not bad, there's some interesting bubble pop sounds, but overall not my flavour. The chorus, droning, grating, I hated it. The harmonies are fine, the vocal performance besides the chorus is great. I loved the very subtle auto-tune letting the natural vocal shine through. It's very upfront and present in the mix, it gives it power. I enjoyed Hwasa's voice immensely, it's amazing. The mix is great as well, it's spacious, huge beat, a warm sound but not too low mid heavy. Just overall this track, not my thing. Every element was executed really well, it's definitely worth checking out, but I won't be listening to it again. John Somi, the winner of Produce 101 and singer of the huge tracks Dum Dum and Birthday, is back with an EP called Game Plan, and it is not bad. It starts rough though. The first track, Gold, 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 having an okay vocal from John Somi, but the arrangement was lacking that little extra, and the hook irritating. Repeating a phrase as a chorus is so trendy in K-pop right now. This particular phrase is boring and annoying. It doesn't overstay its welcome though. The runtime is short, 2.5 minutes. And we get to fast forward. Great track right here. Bouncy, deep production, and a fun composition. It's catchy, and Somi's performance is great. I love the driving beat and production similar to Jack U. The synths in the pre-chorus are great. The chorus was a bit mid, but I liked the Lady Gaga-esque spoken word section. That was awesome. The vocals were a little buried in the mix, disappointing considering how they soar in the pre-chorus. The bridge and chorus arrangements are predictable and played out a bit with 90s, early 2000s inspired synths. F'd Up is good, but not great. The vocal performance is great, and I liked all the percussive elements popping out in the mix, but the whistling in the chorus is a bit much. Bass mixed perfectly though, especially compared to Gold Gold Gold. Then we get to Pisces. Forgettable, this one. I had to keep replaying this track because I would lose interest. It's a similar beat to F'd Up, which didn't help. Somi's vocal is excellent on this track, but the arrangement, uninspired, and the mix, uninteresting. The way closes out this EP, it's an 80s styles cut, predictable, tired. It's similar to The Weeknd or Post Malone or Sunmi. John Somi's vocal, it's not bad on this one. I maybe wanted a little more emotion. It comes off almost apathetic at parts despite the sad lyrics. Overall, though, not a bad effort from John Somi. I perhaps expected a little better considering how huge she is and the team around her. But some of these tracks are fun and catchy pop songs I'll be listening to through the impending spring. How not to K-pop review. Hello everyone, Sean at SepatoreProd here with a review of Purple Kiss's new one, 7 Heaven. It's an upbeat dance number, kind of Luna vibes on this one. The synths are pretty cool, if not a bit generic. The bass line, especially in the chorus, is awesome. It dances around the main hook. Some vocals are overly affected, too aggressive on the doubling at times, such as the second verse. I was especially disappointed in the bridge. It seemed to be the main vocalist performing this part, but their voices were so drowned in reverb and delay I could barely make out the performance. This beat is grooving, and I love the melody and hook. It hits a nice sweet spot of fresh and familiar. I know I've heard those synths before and the high key of the song, but I ate it up. Yum yum yum. The drum kick sounds wet. It's not quite enough click to it. It kind of sounds a bit wumpy, a bit damp. Overall, the mix is squashed. It's very heavy compression, possibly some pretty hard limiting. It suits the EDM pop sound of the track, but considering how many effects such as reverb and delay on some elements, I would have preferred a bit more space in the mix to let those shine. Despite that, this is a great, if not generic, pop song from Purple Kiss, who could use this comeback to help ride the wave of new fans they converted after Queendom Puzzle. Eric Nam's comeback, Only for a Moment. It's a lo-fi, stripped back kind of approach, this one. The drums are awesome. A beautiful, warm acoustic sound to them, very tastefully mixed. Eric Nam's voice, beautiful depth and smoothness. Even when performing kind of airy vocals on this one, it's amazing on Only for a Moment. The synths are maybe slightly one note, the same chords playing throughout the track. It makes it plot a little, but this gave the vocals space to shine, so not such a bad thing. This track's quite mid-heavy, and even the snare was mixed rather warm, so this caused some busyness in the mix, especially in the chorus when Eric's voice is backed up by harmonies and doubling. Harmonies, though, great on this track. The vocals on this track are just stellar, AAA+. I enjoyed this song as an example of Eric Nam's versatility. It's a slight detour from his more EDM-influenced pop, and I feel he's really come into his own since 2020's The Other Side EP. He's been releasing bangers ever since. Keys come back good and great. It's Dua Lipa, Daft Punk vibes on this track. The vocals are a little all over the place. I love the dynamics this brings, but I found it a bit jarring. I couldn't groove to the vocal because it changed every bar. That being said, if you break it down into styles, I found Key's rap parts were great. I didn't mind the chorus hook, I'm good, I'm great. I wasn't big on the auto-tune vocal, it was too much though. The disco house arrangement is a little uninspired. We're not breaking new ground on good and great. The mix is masterful though. Props to SM for putting some resources behind this, getting some great production, especially the bass. Great sound on the bass, present, thick, not overbearing. Ditto the drums. They have this beautiful, warm acoustic sound to them, including the higher elements such as the cymbals and hi-hats. They're beautiful, so warm and thick and not tinny, tastefully loud in the mix as well. The song doesn't overstay its welcome as well. I really appreciated that. Look, this track's a bop. I didn't care for Key's previous efforts, but I really like Good and Great, and I'll be bopping my head to it throughout the rest of the year. Hello everyone, Sean at SepatoreProd here with a review of DPR Ian's So I Danced, released before his upcoming EP or album. I actually don't know which one it's going to be, but hey, life's full of surprises. I Danced comes off the back of Peanut Butter and Tears, and it started off a bit standard. It's running with an arrangement and beat very similar to his previous tracks, So Beautiful, to the point of coming off as a B-grade version of it. So Beautiful, awesome track. So I didn't really mind this similarity, but it didn't blow me away. The samba-adjacent acoustic guitar and big semi-electronic beat accompanying DPRE's soft-sung delivery is smooth, soulful, it's melancholy, but I've heard it all before from him. Then we enter the back half of So I Danced. Wow. What a treat for my ears. The strings add to a gothic trap atmosphere, there's heaps of space through some reverb on the horns and big drums, and the strings swirl around what I can only describe as haunted house effects. I was swept away by it. So many elements, I found the mix spacious and balanced, not too busy. DPRE's vocals are slightly low in the mix, but it makes sense considering his soft-spoken delivery. I'm in two minds about this one. I'm beginning to feel that DPRE's tracks are a bit samey. He has a shtick. The first half of So I Danced really did deliver a B-grade So Beautiful, and that was disappointing. But it served as a setup for this excellent back half of the track, which I loved. Ultimately, I put this one above average and respected DPRE for sounding unlike anyone else in K-pop. Queendom Puzzle winners, L's Up, Cheeky. This was unexpected. This L's Up song is different to what I thought it would be, a lot more of an attitude, ITZY vibe, rather than a bright, fun, weekly vibe. Starts with a pretty standard big sub kick a la ITZY's Cake or John Somi's Gold Gold Gold, both recently released. I didn't mind it on this one because it's not overused, but I wasn't really huge on it either. The pre-chorus and chorus have a beautiful, bright, lush sound that wasn't too cheesy. The vocals sound great, the group vocal style really worked, it wasn't grating as I usually find it. Performances are good, but I can't escape this sense of a disconnect between the vocalists. I wonder if it's because I know they are mostly from different girl groups and featured on Queendom Puzzle. The performances, they're okay. The autotune can be a little heavy and not in line with the brighter mood of the track at times, but overall, it's not a bad one. Just unexpected and not so memorable. I think that there are better tracks out there, like Better Things by aespa, or even Jihyo's Killing Me Good, that sort of have a similar vibe. Even Purple Kiss's Seven Heaven are also one that I would recommend over this one. Hello everyone, Sean at Sepator Prod here with a review of Leela Mars and Minoi, I Don't Know a Single Thing. The production on this track is excellent, a step up from Leela Mars' previous efforts, which didn't sound too bad in their own right. The warmth of their other tracks, such as Trip, is coupled with massive bass, heard in tracks like 777. It's nice hearing a fairly clean vocal from Leela Mars, not overly affected by autotune. They sing really well on this one. Minoi's feature is tasteful, think a hoodie feature. I think that these mellow vibe kind of tracks are that much better when a female vocalist is on it, and it works on I Don't Know a Single Thing. This is a cool effort from Leela Mars and Minoi, but it feels a little standard, like I've heard this sound from them before. It's not a 10 out of 10 stunner, but a decent mellow R&B track from the talented Leela Mars. Hitting you with another review of IVE's brand new one, Either Way. I love the dubstep influence production. The claps and hats are a bit too compressed and loud in the mix. The synths are epic, sizzling, beefy in the chorus, a little more clean in the verses, giving it dynamics. This is a vocal-centric track. The vocals shine. This is IVE's best vocal performance by far. Not overly affected, a little overly compressed along with the rest of the mix, but they all sound beautiful. The natural timbre of their voices, my style, a little bit deeper. The bridge is tasteful, if not predictable. At this point in the track I was already hooked though. This one sticks to the pop verse-chorus bridge structure. It's not game-changing. But the chorus hook is sounding like an owl hoot in the best kind of way. It's not grating. I loved it. It fit the mood of the track, and the note that's sung isn't too high. Either way, overall, it's very subdued in a great way. I understand that it's similar in vibe to, say, a NewJeans effort, but have shown just how talented they are with this one, and it's
well mixed. I love the track, honestly. I love it. The melody, the minimalism of it just hooked me. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Sean at Sepator Prod. Buy me a coffee, link in the description. Years in the making, V. BTS member V. His solo EP is finally out. Layover EP. I'm going to review the whole thing. That's how excited I was for this release. Let's go. It's lo-fi, this one. It reminded me of Joji. The production is incredible. However, there are moments where the vocals sound slightly too clean, considering the lo-fi aesthetic of these tracks. Rainy Days is one of my favourite tracks this year. It's a lo-fi, chilled out lazy day number. I really respect V going all in on the lo-fi aesthetic. This track doesn't muddy the water with a pop production. It ends up sounding like a Taj Mahal or Idealism even. It stands amongst the lo-fi greats. V's performances on this EP are incredible, but particularly on Rainy Days and Slow Dancing. Blue, the next track, incredible. Rainy Days, such a hard act to follow, but if you listen to Blue in isolation, this song is incredible. It keeps the mood flowing on the EP as well. V's vocal performance, beautiful, subdued, emotive. The track has a bit more space than the other songs on the EP. I loved it. The guitar, a little standard. Think Paul Blanco or Jeebanoff and hundreds of other artists out there, especially in the Korean scene. Textures created through different filter effects, distortion throughout the track, it's stunning. Giving the track a cozy, melancholy, but lonely atmosphere. And the production on the drums, wow, it's my favourite on the EP. It's not too clean, it's not too dirty, it's deep, it's present. Perfect drums on this one. Love Me Again, it's a good pop song. It's great for marketing the EP. Beautiful harmonies on this track. Vocal production, it teeters on too much reverb and delay. The lo-fi wumpy drums kind of work, but I wanted a touch more presence, especially on the second chorus. With more elements, it gets buried in the mix. Upping the volume on the back half is a really nice touch though. It made a crescendo. This is one of the only songs that follows a pop structure on the EP, which I liked. You get a break from the jazzy compositions to something more palatable. Slow Dancing is wonderfully dynamic. V's performance especially is dynamic and perfect as expected. I loved the bass, it's produced beautifully with a warm, not muddy tone, mixed perfectly, it has swing, it dances around the key with a kind of funk inflection. The flute solo was unexpected but cool. Perhaps it didn't take my breath away as was intended. I didn't want to say this too loudly, but I prefer the piano version. For Us is a strange, messy closer. I'm not counting the piano version of Slow Dancing. I kinda understand the attempt at storytelling through cinematic effects and Foley, but the mix has no focus. Everything is swimming around. There's nothing I can latch on to. I would've liked more structure and space for this one. Here's the thing with Layover. All the songs sound the same. It ties them together thematically, but I was hoping to hear V express his versatility more. He's an incredible singer, he loves rapping, he can do it all. He has that gravel in his voice so he can growl, he can scream, just like we heard on J-Hope's last effort. This EP comes off feeling a bit like a 17-minute introduction to a body of work. Not that I mind that, but it makes me want more. I hope for way more V solo projects in the future. How not to Kpop review. Hello everyone, Sean at Sepator Prod here with a review of rookie group Tempest's latest track, Vroom Vroom. NCT vibes on this one. There's a trap piano lick that is mixed loud, occasionally drowning the vocal. Vocals are mixed a touch low in fact, especially in the pre-chorus, which is kind of surprising. This is a pop track after all. The bass sounds great, it's distorted, it's heavy, but the other drum elements, hats and snare, they sound a bit buried. It might have helped with a little more compression on those specific elements. Everything else in the mix is definitely compressed enough. I didn't mind the compression though, it suits the strong flavor of the track. It's mixed loud, which can make it sound a bit busy at times, but It gave the song power and oomph, so I didn't mind so much. The bridge is incredible. It's distorted, it comes in with a thunderous crash. It's cool vocal effects and Foley effects, it creates space. This 30 seconds of the song, incredible. Focus on that for your next release, Tempest, definitely. But the rest of the track doesn't quite have legs. It's extremely low, mid, heavy, overwhelmingly so. You can barely hear any other element over that bass. It's an okay effort from Tempest. It lacks in production though, compared to other acts such as EXHYCA's or NCT. It's not quite #1 material, but Tempest are definitely ones to watch. Hello everyone, Sean at SeparatorProd here with a review of Super Junior member Yesung's solo track Scented Things. Urban Zakapa kind of sound on this track. The arrangement's a little standard, piano, guitar, bass, drums, some strings in the mix, but it's all very balanced, it's very natural sounding, great production on this one. Although they aren't the centerpiece of the track, in fact they're played with restraint, the drums are incredible on this track, lending a warm brush, keeping it moving. Favorite part of Scented Things was the drums. Scented Things was losing me in the first verse and the first chorus as it was delivered with a soft, airy vocal, not much dynamics going on, but then the second verse and chorus come in and Yesung's vocal soars beautifully. I loved that part. Then the bridge, boring. They didn't really build on the track at all, they didn't add any elements really. It lacked dynamics, it just plods along Scented Things, despite some incredible vocal moments from Yesung. There's nothing overly special about this one. His voice is stunning though, so I do recommend it if you love ballads, Urban Zakapa, which I previously mentioned. Check this one out. ONF, Love Effect. Interesting one, this one. ONF are a boy group, but this sounds like a girl group track. I could see Woo-Ah, Weekly, Purple Kiss performing Love Effect to great effect. The first verse, it's got this awesome buzzy low bass and piano playing through it. I loved that element, but it contrasted maybe a little too much with the vocal. It makes it sound squeaky. The horns, so fun on this one. The key of the track is high, makes the mix a bit high, a bit mid-heavy. The chorus, it hurt my ears honestly, but I do love those horns. And the vocals, they get a little buried in the chorus because those horns, they come in loud. There's guitar in the mix. There's so much going on in the chorus. Very busy. I really loved that distorted, the punchy bass line throughout the track. That first verse and in the chorus, real groove. I loved it. Performance is slightly lackluster on the vocals. I couldn't quite feel the sincerity of this one. It felt a bit manufactured. The rap. It's kind of goofy. I loved it. It's delivered whimsically, which it put a smile on my face, even thinking about it now. It's a fun one, Love Effect. The hook is legit. The verses are fun. But this track, it doesn't really stand out though. I can't see myself listening to this in 5 years' time.
Hey, it's Sean here. I'm going to review Monster X member IM's latest solo track, Overdrive. Starts with an awesome beat, awesome dark vibe. It's dynamic. It's almost too dynamic. Once that beat kicked in after a short, silent, almost silent intro, man, it tore my ears off. The auto-tune, super tasteful, kind of Travis Scott vibes, really, really cool. The bridge key change, very dynamic. I loved it. It was awesome. The track never gets boring. It's so dynamic. I really loved it. I definitely would have liked it to go a little further than that, maybe some screaming even in his vocal performance, maybe slightly more energy in that back half of the track, because it kind of just plods along to the end, but I did love the vibe on this one. I am very talented dude, absolutely love his work. Hello everyone, it's Sean here. I'm going to be reviewing Yoonway's self-titled debut album, an awesome debut from Where to Plug Records artist Yoonway. I've been following them ever since I heard the amazing track Silhouette. I highly recommend you check that one out. This album, dark, glitchy, heavy but dynamic and varied, with awesome industrial moments in the beat.
The first half of the album, the beat is a little samey, but switches up in the second half to keep things interesting, I found. And this album, it's packed with excellent, tasteful production. The arrangements aren't overly varied, but this brings cohesion to the project, I found. And I love Yoonway's vocal. The way it shifts between soulful R&B singing and rapping, excellent. The track Prophecies is a great summation of all this album has to offer. Dark, synthy trap a la Tyler the Creator's Goblin. I'll put that one on the end, that track, the end of this review. And respect to the amount of solo tracks on Yoonway's album. They don't need features, they hype. Occasionally, the mix is a bit busy, especially in the high mid-range around the vocal and hats. Personally felt the hats were a bit loud in the mix. I would have turned them down a touch. The track Bang and Spit was the low point for me. It's kind of messy in a not satisfying way. Kid Millie's verse though, great. Provided some variety to the album. The back end of the album, predictably, is smoother and slower. Yoonway's flow is good, but not exceptional on tracks like Ibiza. I loved the closer though, Running Out of Time. Flow was fire, despite some kind of mess singing parts. Overall, this album, amazing. Highly recommend listening to it all the way through in one sitting. Put it on in the car, put it on the train, wherever you are. Put it on, turn it up. Awesome effort from Yoonway.
Debut YG girl group, the first one since Blackpink, Baby Monster, Batter Up. The raps are awesome. The Batter Up hook isn't quite there for me. It's okay, but standard YG feels a bit like a Blackpink B-side. The picture-vectored vocals on the chorus remind me of WAP. The horns are pretty standard, boring. Ditto on the beat, it's pretty standard stuff. The vocal production, great. But the vocals, I'm not sure if it's the key or the performance, but a bit too airy. I did like how this contrasted with the sharp, powerful raps though. YG have debuted Baby Monster with a very safe bet of a track. They aren't breaking new ground at all, so it comes off as another Blackpink. I'm hearing a lot of talent, especially from the raps, so I am looking forward to where Baby wants to go from here. My hope is experimentation and some new sounds in 2024. Hello everyone, Sean at Saboteur Prod here reviewing TXT's Chasing That Feeling. The weekend vibes on this one. Bit played out. The production is excellent. The drums punchy, dancey, the synth's shiny, plenty of punch. The bass is big but not overwhelming. The arrangement, very stock standard for anyone trying to go for that weekend kind of sound. I found it boring. The vocals, auto-tuned to the max, a little overly affected. I understand it serves the song, kind of fits the genre, but it's really not my flavor, especially considering how talented TXT are. Their vocals are incredible usually. I like how the chorus soars. The high note sounded well, but the auto-tune and distortion once again, there's a little too much sizzle in it. It's a touch harsh on my ears. Track bops though. It doesn't overstay its welcome. I really liked the structure and the groove. Overall though, not the strongest from TXT, especially considering their catalogue currently and the fact they're backed by big hit Hype, the global super mega hit machine. Chasing That Feeling, Do It Like That with the Jonas Brothers, kind of weak efforts from TXT. I expect more, and I hope for more going into 2024. Former GOT7 member Youngjae's Do It. This is Youngjae doing a J-Park song. It's got a catchy hook, plucky guitar, whirly-ish kind of synth. The guitar actually felt a bit too compressed, or maybe some EQ was needed to control some of the sharpness. And it sits in the mix slightly buried, so maybe the beat needed to be turned down or sidechain compressed less aggressively. But the beat though is very cool. Snare, the clap, very scratchy, the kick is present, it tastefully pops out in the mix generally. It's well balanced, the mix, it's cohesive. Tasteful R&B production, the bottom end controlled really well, especially in the chorus. The track's sound, it's very J-Park. Think Yacht, Drive, All I Want to Do, but Youngjae's vocal, not quite J-Park. It's very good, and it's mixed natural, which I respect,
but J-Park is the GOAT, and I think I would have preferred this as a J-Park tune. I enjoyed the track. Youngjae went a bit quiet once he moved to higher music, so I'm glad he's back. Hello everyone, Sean at Sepultura Prod here with a review of Weekly's Vroom Vroom. Lush. These synths are stunning. A bit of a Japanese city pop flair to them with a slightly glassy but thick sound. It's not overly compressed, it's panned wide, layered well, loved it. Vocals though are a bit disappointing on this one. They lack energy, especially the chorus hook. There's this awesome build-up where the instruments fall away, leaving just synth and vocal. It builds and builds, but then we get a relatively quiet chorus hook of Vroom Vroom. I wanted it to crescendo a little more, so I wonder if using different words may have been able to get a more soaring melody. Vroom Vroom, it's kind of hard to enunciate and pronounce. Kind of a disco tune. It's got that classic Nile Rodgers, Daft Punk guitar and 70s kind of drums. And the track, it's so catchy, but it is let down by the vocals and a pretty underwhelming chorus. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Sean at Sepultura Prod. Buy me a coffee. Till next time.